Hi, Seema. Hey, Sharad. How are you? We are so. Hi, Tams. Just posting, pinning the comment. Yeah, now done. Tams, you need to send me a request to join. Hey, Elka. Go Green Bali. Hi. Seema, how you been? How are the kiddos? What's up, everyone? Connecting. Hi. Can you hear me?
I think is the fan on because there's a lot of echo because of the fan, I think.
Give me a second. You can say hi to everyone in the meantime, and I'll.
Hi guys. So welcome to this live session, which a very dear friend of mine, Achal Gupta, is hosting on a page, Decoding Life with Achal. And I am Tamanna C, psychic and a spiritual therapist. And in today's live session, we're going to be covering the topic on soulmate connections and what exactly soulmates are, and how kind of how we know who our soulmates are. And Archer here has got some interesting questions planned for me. So Archer, you can take over.
Hi, hey everyone. I missed Walla on the chat. I'm going to quickly say hi to everybody. Hi, Anoki. Okay, so wait, I need to raise the height of 1 second, just a second. So Tamanna is a psychic leader, and more importantly, she's also like a very, very dear friend of mine, everyone. So I'm very, very happy to have her. I think this is better. Very happy to have her on my chat. Excited to do this subject because I think it's something that we're all fascinated by more than anything else. And Tammy, so tell us, should we begin or should we just wait for a minute or two and just say hi to everyone? Because we do kindly
We
have
can.
2 minutes.
I let you take lead.
Huh? Okay, so
I
just to give
said,
I can't quite hear you. Just to give a run through to all our viewers, we're going to discuss this subject with Tamanna on soulmates, and then we'll give you the last 5-7 minutes to ask any questions that you want. So if you have questions, please hold them to the chat, and I'm sure she'll be happy to answer whatever it is that you want to know. So I think we can begin.
we can
Even if
start.
So, Tamanna, tell me first of all, what is the meaning of soulmates? Because this is a subject I think that really fascinates everyone. So, um, what is this concept of soulmates all about?
So, Achal, basically, how on earth in human form we all have a family that we are born into. Similarly, in the soul realm, we have something which is called soul groups, and soul groups are basically soul clusters or soul families that share the same passion, that share the same journey, that share the same wisdom, or that share also the same experiences. So, basically, souls that vibrate on similar frequencies form soul groups, and these are the soul groups that keep incarnating on earth as our friends, family, relatives, love interests, partners, etc. So what really happens is it's amongst those soul groups or soul clusters that we keep kind of coming back on earth as. So maybe your partner from another lifetime can be your best friend in this lifetime. Your best friend from another lifetime can be your parent in this lifetime. Your parents from another lifetime can be your children in this lifetime. So it's basically the souls keep recycling into each other's life because of common interests, common lessons, or the common passion to grow into a certain direction in their life. So soulmates are basically people or souls from your same soul group with whom you've shared past experiences of love and a very strong family bond, or sometimes even a romantic bond. So
Okay,
that's
okay,
what soulmates.
okay. So tell me, we all seem to have the idea that soulmates are basically our spouses or our partners, our lovers, because whenever we talk about romantic relationships, we say, "Oh, this is my soulmate." Necessary that our soulmates are romantic partners?
That is an absolute story because again, your soulmate from some lifetime can come back into this lifetime as your own parent or your own child or your own best friend. So it's not necessarily that your same soulmate or same life partner or romantic partner from your past life will keep coming back into your present life. Number one. Number two is also sometimes you may share a connection or a love interest with someone purely out of attraction, which could be a personality attraction and not the soul attraction. It could be a physical attraction, it could be physical passion, or it could be a mental connection. It may not necessarily mean a soul connection. You know, sometimes in our life we meet people and we get into a romantic relationship with them not based on the soul concept or soul connection, but based on the personality connection because their personality complements our personality or their ego resonates with our ego self. So it is an absolute myth that every romantic partner that you have can actually be your soulmate. I mean, sometimes your soulmate or a romantic partner from your last life may not really have a significance in this lifetime. You may come across with them, but they may not really have a role to play in your life. So their existence in this lifetime can be actually null and void. So it's not necessarily that you keep attracting similar soulmates of love interest in every lifetime because even they have to go through evolution, right? You cannot have the same partner in every lifetime because then you're never going to grow into learning your other lessons or fulfilling your connections with other people.
Correct. So then that brings me to the next question. How do we even recognize us in life? How do we differentiate just being infatuated with someone or dealing with someone as how do you separate the two identities? And then, and if it's not your partner and your lover who is, or your spouse who is your soulmate, how do you actually recognize what would be this?
So,
Are there
so let's talk about infatuation. Like I said, there are two dimensions to our human existence. One is the personality dimension, and one is the soul dimension. Often we actually kind of get infatuated, or we fall in love, or that passion or that attraction is towards someone who satiates our personality, someone with whom we are very physically attracted to, or someone who satiates our physical needs, or someone who kind of complements our outlook in life or our mental outlook in life. So what happens is when you're creating a connection like that, Achal, it only satiates your personality being where you feel that, okay, it's very easy to live with them, but also after a point, life gets very monotonous. You feel you're not growing. It's not a progressive relationship. It, even though you're with them and even though you're enjoying common interest, you feel that there's a part of you which feels very incomplete. That means that that is just infatuation because that person is not fulfilling a soul connection. Whereas with a soul connection, what happens, or a soulmate relationship, number one, the connection is instantaneously, whether they are whether they are attractive, not attractive, it's beyond the physical attraction. You may be different but also have a lot of commonalities. You may share basic principles of life, like your thought process, your belief systems, your experiences in life. Even if you come from a different cultural background or a different monetary background, the way you perceive life, the way you hold values towards life may be the same. So those are soulmate connections. Also, when you're with a soulmate, it could be a best friend, it could be a business partner, it could be a spouse or a sibling. It feels like you already know them. It's beyond time. You don't keep a tab on, oh, I've known them for 6 months, I've known them for 2 years. It just feels like you've known them for forever. And also what happens is with a soulmate connection, Achal, no matter how much you love them, no matter how much you give into the relationship with them, or how much energies you invest in developing a bond with them, you don't feel depleted, you don't feel drained out. It comes very effortlessly. Versus when you are in a relationship which is based on personality, self, or infatuation, you're constantly keeping a tab on how much you've given into the relationship and how much you've done for them, and you feel drained out. So somewhere subconsciously, it's all about the give and take. A soulmate relationship is never about the give and take. It's just very effortless.
okay, so when we meet people in our life sometimes and we feel an instant connection and instant energy with them. I don't know, maybe because some of us, I know that a lot of people are very aware about these, and a lot of people maybe don't realize because they're not that aware in general. But when you come across certain people, there are some people you'll just not engage life, no matter how much your situations, your life brings you together. Some people that are complete strangers and you feel that instant connection. Does that necessarily mean that your soulmates or life connection?
No, that does not necessarily mean that you have to be a soulmate. That could also be that two people from different soul groups could be resonating at the same frequency in that particular time period. So you can meet some soul from another soul family, but at that point, when you interact with each other, your vibrations can be similar. Your frequencies, your soul frequencies, or your wavelength at that point in time can be similar, and you may resonate for a certain period of time, and then you'll kind of grow apart or fall apart. So initially, there could be that instant attraction, but with a little bit more engagement, it kind of fades away. With a soulmate connection, it never fades away, it only grows.
Okay, and does this necessarily last an entire lifetime, or is it that okay, they've come for a life into our lives for a certain purpose, that purpose, that karma with them is done, and or or is it going to last you your lifetime or their lifetime?
Yeah, so some soulmates, like your immediate family, friends, they last for a lifetime, but there could be some incomplete connections in the past life that may come back in this lifetime for completion. So, depending from situation to situation, depending from person to person, or independent soul connection, most of the soulmate connections are primarily more that will exist throughout the lifetime, but there could be a 1 out of 10 relationships that could be a past life incompletion.
Okay, and can you possibly have more than soulmates in a life, either coming and going?
Yeah, you can actually have more than you can actually have 5 to 10 soulmates. So it's not necessarily that it has to be one soulmate. Like I'm saying, I mean, when I have personally done my past life, my father, whom I'm and I think anyone who knows me personally knows my connection with my father. And during one of my past life, healings, when I had visions about my past life, he was my life partner. And because in there was a lot of unfulfilled time spent, or rather, there was a lot of unfulfilled time in that lifetime. So in this lifetime, we've kind of come back together, but it's a different bond. It's not a romantic bond. It's more like it's like a father-child bond, but the love is so strong that it's inseparable. So I mean, it's not about relationships. Soulmates are beyond relationships. They are beyond romance. They are beyond the physical attraction. It's all about the deep, innate connection you share with them.
Right, and in our Hindu Vedas, or I don't know that we choose the family that we are born into. Either we have some unfit, or for whatever reasons, and families have troubled relationships, and they say because you've chosen to come into this lifetime and finish your karma with them and move on. Do family members? How then do you differentiate what that is, and if it's a soulmate connection, or is there a difference between the two, or is it the same thing? Do they become your soulmates in life? How do you define that or differentiate that rather?
Also, what happens is, actually, we choose a family based on what are our primary karmic lessons we need to learn. So, for example, if a soul has to learn a lesson of being emotionally independent, they will be born into a family where they are super protective, super sheltered, super conservative, because it's always the opposite of your lesson that you will be born into a family like that. So if your lesson is to be more assertive, you will be born into a family which is very suppressive, which is very headstrong, which is very conservative, and kind of is constantly controlling you, because only through those harsh experiences is when you learn how to stand up for yourself. So depending on what your primary lesson is, you will incarnate into that family that will push you to come out of your comfort zone. So though the situations can be causing a lot of pain and discomfort, but on a deeper level, the soul knows that this is our soul family, and they are kind of putting us through these situations to teach us a primary lesson. So it's like going to school today. If the teacher, if the student is not learning the lesson, no matter how fond the teacher is of the student, she has to be very strict. It's exactly like that. So yes, even our family members, even our loved ones, even our immediate soul connections cause a lot of pain, but that's only and only for us to learn our lessons.
Okay, I'm going to sorry quickly ask you. You can hear my voice, right? Because I'm getting a few messages that say they can't hear the questions. You can hear me ask
Your
my question.
your voice is actually it's kind of getting cut. I can hear the questions, but there's a slight disturbance. But go on, carry on. We can.
Okay, there was a question someone asked, I found very interesting. I know we said we'll take questions later, but do soulmates always recognize each other? Or is it possible that it's only the one that is A, do they recognize each other? B, is it that is it usually both feel as much of love, or is it that usually it's also possible that one person is giving the love and one person is receiving the love?
It can be actually both ways, but it's usually, though even one person sometimes can recognize the instant connection, sooner or later the other person will be on board, but the other person will also feel a connect. Maybe not to that intensity, but the connection will always be felt between both of them. The intensity may vary depending on a person's spiritual wisdom or awareness, or depending on the person's sensitivity. One person may feel it a lot more than the other, but that does not mean the other person is not feeling it.
Okay, and do also, so you answered that it's always like it's both ways. Okay, there's another question. I'll take that also quickly. The difference between twin flame, soulmate, and karma.
Okay, so twin flames are basically soul who are part of your origin of soul. Now, the thing between twin flames is that they are the complete opposite of you. They are your other half. And not necessarily that your twin flame will be on earth at the same time while you have incarnated. Some twin flames may actually be on the spiritual realm while you are here on the earthly dimension, and they may choose not to incarnate at the same time with you. They may choose to kind of guide you, be around you while you're on earth, and they could be a spirit guide. uh, Twin flames are always a part of your soul group. With soulmates, their origin is of somewhere else, but they come together as same soul groups. And they are the ones who keep coming back on earth with you while you're in the earth dimension. So the thing is, twin flames can be a part of your soul group, but not everyone who's a part of your soul group is your twin flame. There's only one twin flame. With your soulmates, you can keep having multiple soulmates over various lifetimes. And the difference between karmic connection and twin flame and soulmates are karmic connections are temporary connections during which you kind of choose to encounter them to give and receive certain energy during the course of your life. So your karmic connections with people can be of spiritual growth, financial help, or something romantic, but it could also be a short-term romantic relationship, or someone may give you that first break in your career, and that could be a karmic connection. And once you've got the break, they may kind of walk out of your life. So karmic connections are basically souls whom you choose in your life to help you for a certain period of time. And once their role in your life is done, they move on and you move on. It's not a long-lived relationship.
And how many lifetimes do soulmates generally travel with us? And is it necessary that they will travel with us in every lifetime of ours? Or is there a point where it just kind of ends and we part ways?
No, if you finished your karma with them, or maybe there may be a lifetime, Achal, where two souls may not have similar paths or may not have similar lessons or similar purpose,
Okay.
then they may choose to incarnate in different at the same time, but maybe in different in different families, so they may not really cross paths.
Okay.
But most of the time soulmates keep coming back as your family, as your friends, and they do meet you even if they don't have a karmic connection in your life. They may meet you, it may be temporary, and they may move on, but they keep coming back more often than what twin flames do.
And do you always end up meeting your in this lifetime? Is it possible that you can be on this planet and not even meet each other? Is that even possible?
Are you talking about twin flames?
No, soulmates.
No, you always like I'm saying, okay, you may not always marry your soulmate if that's the question. Yes, you may also get married to someone with of another soul with whom you've had something left incomplete in your past life, but it may not necessarily be a soulmate connection. Also, sometimes, especially people who operate from the very 3D dimension, which is the dimension of your ego self, personality self. And right now, I mean, last couple of decades, you've heard people getting married for the wrong reason, people getting married for financial security, people getting married just for the sake of it, people getting married to kind of match their personality self or ego self. Of course, then I don't see those people really landing up with your soulmates, because to be with your soulmate in a marital bond, you need to open your soul. You need to choose from the soul, not from the ego. And that's one of the reasons why the number of extramarital affairs have increased, because people find love after being married. They get married to satiate the ego self, personality self, and then they realize that okay, shadi ho gayi, it's all hunky dory. Mera parents happy, made the society happy, but we need something more. And that's when they kind of come across their soulmate that satiates their soul bond or soul connection. So it's a myth that we all end up getting married to our soulmates. It's not necessarily important.
So that actually brings me to, that's actually not what I was asking. I'm going to rephrase my question, is that in our life, all necessarily come across our soulmate, or is it possible that we may pass our entire life not come across our soulmate? And secondly, you're saying that does this also mean that our end goal in life in our lives is then to end up our soulmates as partners, as spouses, or that doesn't apply? You can still keep taking birth in different. It could be a friend, it could be a brother, sister, anybody.
No, okay. So to answer your question, the first part of the question, yes, we all will meet our soulmates. Like I'm saying, our soulmate is our immediate family. So if you're born into a human family with your parents, siblings, your friends, so they all are a soulmate because you've shared lifetimes with them. There is that familiarity. And no, the end result is not about, it doesn't matter whether you land up with your soulmate towards the end of it, because by the end of it, the soul knows no separation. They go back into the soul group. So they know that even if their soulmates have kind of left the human realm and gone, they know that sooner or later they are going to reunite with them either in the spiritual realm or in another lifetime. Okay. So it's just an ongoing, continuous process.
Okay, and there's a question that's asking is, what steps can a person take to attract soulmates? I don't think don't you like just come across your soulmates by chance in life, or do you have to actually work?
No, you cannot really. I mean, again, Aishwarya, you cannot. There is no specific way for you to attract your soulmate. Like I'm saying, you may already be surrounded by your soulmates. You just need to recognize them. I think we all really need to drop our persistence towards a soulmate connection. I think we all have so many myths and so many persistent thoughts and ideas about a soulmate, that your soulmate could actually be in front of you and you may not honor that or recognize that.
Right. So, and actually, I think also what she's probably getting confused between, again, what you say, not necessarily your partners and spouses. So maybe there's a difference between trying to attract love in your life, romantic love, and between soulmates. I don't know, but I think that's what.
So the way you can attract a soulmate into a romantic connection is by being more aware of firstly your intention of being with a person. So whenever you decide to be with someone, whenever you decide to marry someone, you need to see and check for yourself, whether you're getting married for the right reason, whether it is satiating your soul or whether it's satiating your personality, and whether it's a progressive relationship or whether it's just a relationship because you wanted to look good in front of the society to make everyone else happy. So if your reasons for being with someone is more from the soul, is from the intention, is from the soul, then of course you may land up attracting your soulmate. But if you get married or if you're in a romantic relationship for the wrong reasons, then of course you will kind of push away your chance from actually reuniting with your soulmate as a partner.
And I had read somewhere very long ago that your soulmates are sent in your life to look out for you, to protect you, to be there for you. So my question is that is it necessary that that's the role that they play, and also that your association with them in this lifetime is a happy one, or can there also be frictions, Or is it usually just a very convenient, more or less like a smooth, even relationship with them through this lifetime?
It is primarily more smooth, but as and when, if at all you feel stuck, then that push that you may get from your soulmate can come across as a painful one, you know. So it's just that they give you that nudge in a painful way, but in a larger dimension, in the larger scheme of life, it's more peaceful. And at that point, when you're going, it's more peaceful. When you at that point, Achal, when you're going through pain, you may not realize that. But
Okay.
in life, when you look back, you'll be like, oh my God, that person was my soulmate. And, you know, fine, he left me or he kind of did this to me, but it all worked out for my better in the larger scheme of life. So when you're going through pain, you may not really acknowledge that, but sooner or later you'll start acknowledging that because they kind of sometimes even soulmates come in your life, you fall in love and they may reject you, abandon you, leave you, but to put you on a better path or for your own betterment. And in the larger scheme of life, it's all going to work out for your best.
Okay, so then again there's two parts to that. One is soulmates are edging you towards the lesson that you need to learn in your life, and you know what turns out for you for the run. The other thing is also between each other. Say for example, if you and I are soulmates, then is it necessary that our association has to be more or less smooth and seamless and happy because we're soulmates, or is it also possible that you and I may have a lot of friction, a lot of ups and downs, a volatile relationship? Is that possible between soulmates?
That is absolutely possible, Achal. But also, if you and me are soulmates, and even in friendship, if we have a very volatile friendship, it becomes very effortless. So even though there could be frictions, the effort that you make towards me or the effort that I make towards you to resolve it becomes a lot more effortless. We look at that friction on the face value rather than doubting the other person's intentions. So we look at the friction for what it is, but we don't kind of alter how we perceive each other. There's no judgment, there is no trust issue.
Right, right.
So it's a lot
Yeah,
more
trust you
so
said.
so to kind of get over the problem becomes a lot more effortless with the soulmate. Problems are always going to be there, be it with karmic connections, soulmates, or even with your twin flame. But how much, or rather, how sooner you get over it and how effortless it is, actually deciphers whether you're soulmate or twin flame or karmic connections.
Understood, understood. And then we have a question here. If you're to a person, is it a karmic connection? I'm guessing the answer to that is yes. I mean,
It can be yes, and also Deepika depends on what level of the attachment it is. If it's attachment because the person is kind of validating your ego or validating your confidence or your existence, then you're again operating from an ego self. So you also really need to understand at what what level is the attachment from. Is it just physical attachment? Is it emotional attachment? Is it a soul attachment? Or is it you just like the idea of a person? Sometimes you get attached to the idea of a person.
right, right. It's also a lot of unrealistic attachment. I think there's a lot of difference between being infatuated with a person, having a soul connection, because infatuation has a lot of physical attraction and you know just being attracted to someone and just personality traits in them, external traits that you may be drawn to, which not necessarily mean that your soul is happy. Soul connection. Okay, I think we've covered a lot. There were a couple of questions that I thought I missed at some point, but hey guys, if you have now would be a time to punch them in because we can take them up right now, and otherwise then
I
we
think
can.
yeah, I'm just going through the questions, and I think more or less indirectly, directly, we've already answered most of them. There were one, two questions about do we land up getting married to a soulmate? We've already answered that. Difference between twin soulmates, we've already answered that. I think we've almost pretty much covered most of the questions.
Okay, I'm going to go a little off the cuff here a bit because there's so much being talked about spirits and messages from spirits post unfortunate demise of Sushant Singh Rajput. What is this message of spirits and also soul? There are connection with soul connections, but that's besides the point. But I think what is this whole thing about from spirits? Is this even real, to be honest?
No, so we know that the spirit world is always communicating with us through dreams, messages, clairvoyance. I mean, I've grown up seeing dead people and connecting with them, but again, it really depends from person to person, and I don't want to kind of particularly talk about Sushant Singh because it's a very controversial, yet it's a very sensitive topic. So I don't want to get into that dimension, but it is true that when your loved ones pass away, you may see their presence around them. They may come, if at all they are your spirit guides. You may dream about them, or you may feel their presence around you. Sometimes it may come across as, oh my God, there's someone in the room or someone walking behind me, or you may not really know how to perceive it. But spirits are always around us. And sometimes, if at all you are stuck in a problem, or if at all you are unable to see the guidance that you're getting from people around you, even your spiritual guides may try to guide you, protect you, in your day to day life. So, yes, spirit guide connection, communication does exist.
It does exist. Okay. And how do we bring our be more aware these spirits exist and what are the messages that they're trying to give us? Are there signs? Are there how
There
do
are also signs, but you also need to kind of be more open. And one of the strongest signs is of, yeah, I said after the demise of a loved one, if you're constantly dreaming about them, it means they are kind of trying to reach out to you. Now, depending on some people who are very sensitive, some people who meditate a lot, or some people who are connected with their spiritual self, they will be able to pick up the messages. But if fear takes over somebody, they may not really be able to pick up the messages. So it really depends from person to person how open they are, and whether they are accepting of the guidance, accepting of the message. If someone is very rigid in their frame of thought, and if someone is blocked to receiving messages and blocked to changes, and is very happy being in that mess, of course they won't get guidance from the spiritual realm. But if someone really wants to make an effort and change their life and is open to changing and receiving guidance, guidance will automatically come through very easily for them.
okay. Ruby Aurora, why do you still feel love for a person and what if they've hurt you? It's like you understand that they accept them. Ruby, I don't need a psychic to answer this. I don't think you should accept anyone in your life who's consistently hurting you, and especially if they know they're bringing that much pain into your life, and they're still proceeding to do this. I don't see any reason why you still have them in your life. Move on. Vibrate at a higher level so that you attract only love and happy people in your life. I don't see any reason why you should accept people behaving like that. But Tams, I don't know if you want to answer this question from a psychic
No,
perspective.
I absolutely agree. And also, if at all they've hurt you once, Ruby, maybe there's a deeper message for you. But if that becomes a behavior pattern of them, then you need to stop giving them a benefit of doubt. And you need to stand up for yourself, and stand up for yourself by either setting boundaries or walking out of that relationship.
I think one of the earliest quotes I think I read very early in my life, and I try to, it's been a mantra for me all through life, is that if you refuse to accept anything but the best, you very often. Why would you want to accept people who keep hurting you in your life? That means you are attracting to you are giving a message that it's okay for people to treat me like this, which means you will attract more and more people who treat you in shabbier ways, and I don't think you should do that. But yes, Tams, I so much fun. I feel like we could probably just go on and on, get offline and chat with you on this a lot more. There's so many things running in my mind. How to communicate with angels? Okay, same thing as spirits, right?
So the thing is, whether you're communicating with angels, whether you're communicating with spirits, you need to upraise your vibrational frequency. So that, I mean, either it happens over years and years of meditation and spiritual growth, or you need to kind of go to a master, you need to go to a guru who can initiate you into a higher vibration. You cannot just start communicating with the spiritual world or the angel world just because one fine day you decide to these. I mean, there are certain techniques, there are certain protocols that one really needs to follow, and it needs to be done under the guidance. Otherwise, if you don't do it under the guidance, it can also backfire. You can also attract a lot of negative energy because you don't know whether you're communicating with the angelic realm or spiritual realm or astral realm. So Aishwarya, it has to be done under proper guidance or over years and years of practice. But again, you need a master. You need a guru to kind of guide you in that step by step process.
Who know what they're doing and who've practiced this over years and years, and know how. I don't think it's something that you should try to do yourself. Thank you so much, Tam. So much for being
Thank you.
much fun. Hi, Rinku. You're a bit late. It's fun, and I really enjoyed my chat. I enjoy all our subjects always. Guys, just to give you a quick update, we're coming back with the second part of our numerology on Thursday. This is going to be at 4 p.m. The information on the chat is going to be up on this site in the next half an hour. Please post your comments and your feedback. Please also write to us about what you'd like for us to bring, what subjects, what speakers. They don't have to necessarily be celebrities. It's just people who do incredible work in their fields. And thank you, baby. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
I will. Take care. See you soon.
Bye.